Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Live. Excuse me. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show today. So I think we're going to have a very small crowd. I kind of screwed up the calendar thing and fixed it 10 minutes ago. So I'm not sure who all is going to turn up, but I had a great topic for today, and I'm going to save it for next week. And so now you're going to get a total cheat thing. And I'm just going to read a section out of my Dang It Was Me All Along book so that I have something to talk about like 3 minutes before the show airs. And so the chapter is called Quit Your Kvetching. And so here it is. I want to delve into one last concept before we move on. Would you believe the average person complains, kvetches, 10 to 30 times a day? Neither did I. I always thought people complained as a way to vent, to get things off their chest, or to unburden themselves of their frustrations. Complainers will share their tales of woe. They'll let you know how hard life is, how things don't go their way, or how unlucky they are. They're usually happy to share every unbearable, intolerable, or disastrous thing that happens to them. The truth of the matter is, we'll gripe about anything under the sun if given the chance. We whine about our aches and pains, our jobs, the weather, poor customer service, traffic, spam phone calls, and bad Wi-Fi connections. It's easy to rant and rave about the things in our lives that aren't working, but complaining serves no purpose other than to further entrench us into our own negative thinking. People who consistently complain, by and large, are always unhappy. They might be surrounded by success, but are unable to enjoy the fruit that life offers. Their focus is always on the downbeat, depressing lack they are experiencing. They have a perpetual glass half empty mentality toward life. Each time we find fault with someone or something, we strengthen the negative neural pathways in our brains. This makes it easier and easier for us to overlook the good we encounter and only see the bad. With all of the harmful thinking we do, it makes sense that we're all a bunch of complainers living in a society of complainers. William Bowen, the author of A Complaint-Free World, identifies 5 primary reasons people kvetch. 1, people oddly complain as a way to connect with others. We might gripe about the bad weather or the slowness of service as a way to start a conversation. Some people complain about how others show their preeminence. They might make comments like, oh, he's a litter bug, or she shouldn't drive that way, both of which imply the complainer's thoughts on the matter are superior and that they know a better way of doing things. Some people use complaining as a way to control others. They will use their toxic words to badmouth or minimize an opponent and strengthen their own status and position by diminishing others. Complaining can be used to evade responsibility and avoid taking action. Often when you offer a suggestion to help improve an individual's situation, they will automatically find fault with your idea and moan about that as well. Others use it as an excuse for their poor performance, their destructive behaviors, or for their not taking action. They might complain about congested traffic as they show up late, or how they didn't get a good night's sleep as a cover for why they aren't prepared for a meeting. One reason Will Bowen doesn't offer is complaining can be a learned behavior. Children who grow up in an environment where complaining is the rule and not the exception will find it a natural part of their lives. I come from a family of professional kvetchers, so I come by complaining as a pastime honestly. I started noticing this active pattern right after I started paying attention to my negative thinking. I was shocked to detect how much I complained. And believe me, I was good at it. Some of the best and funniest stories I tell are of me complaining about something. Once recognized the telltale signs of my own whining, I knew it had to go, especially if it was getting in my way of being happy. Recognizing and becoming conscious of your negative thinking is the first step to unraveling this process. If you weren't thinking negatively in the first place, you wouldn't have anything to grumble about. At first, you may start to notice the eyes of the person you're talking to glaze over while you're speaking to them. They might seem like they want the conversation to end and run from your presence before you can get another one of your woeful tales out of your mouth. In time, you might start to catch yourself in the process of complaining as you put your attention on this behavior. Unfortunately, once started, it is nearly impossible to put the genie back in the bottle and stop the flow of negative words coming out of our mouths. And again, it's okay. Finish what you're saying and make a mental note of it. All you can do is try better the next time. As your thoughts shift from negativity to being more positive, you'll find you will find you don't have anything to complain about. All right, I'll keep going a little bit. Killing the kvetch. Want to kill the kvetch? Then perhaps it's time to develop an attitude of gratitude. Gratitude is identified as both a mood and an emotion. It is one emotion we have conscious control over. We express gratitude when we acknowledge and appreciate the moments, skills, people, places, and things that bring us pleasure. Our happiness quotient automatically increases when we feel thankful for who we are and what we have. It is the antithesis of complaining. Gratitude helps us spotlight the positive aspects in our lives. The conscious effort of articulating our appreciation magnifies the sensation of good feelings in our body. You might already express gratitude when you take that first sip of coffee in the morning. Or what about when you luck out and got one of those up close parking spots at a crowded mall? I know I always say thank you. There is so much more we can be thankful for in our lives, much of which we overlook. We can stop and appreciate the peacefulness of a serene forest. We can be grateful for our health. We can be appreciative of a task someone graciously did for us. We can even be thankful for bad experiences or negative encounters, particularly if we learn a lesson from them or can decipher their underlying message. Bottom line, we can begin a practice of paying attention and cherishing the small things in our lives that bring us joy. People who count their blessings tend to be happier and experience more positive emotions. Gratitude trains the brain to be more optimistic, strengthening our positive neural circuits. You can't complain while you're embracing gratitude. It's a great tool to use to shift our focus from being a downer to one of contentment. Imagine instead of griping, you automatically find something within a situation to be grateful for. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. All you need to do is say thank you. So it really is true that, I come from a family of chronic complainers. And this happened to me, and I think I told this story a couple of months ago, but it's totally a gratitude story. But I was on my way to the gym, and I had just left planning and zoning to talk to the electrical inspector. And I get to the gym, and this woman says, you have a flat tire? Now, if it had been a few years ago, I would have just been like so upset and bitching and moaning and complaining and telling everybody it's like, oh, I got the flat tire at planning and zoning. And it was kind of miraculous to me because I stopped and I looked around and I was like, thank you. Because where did I stop? I stopped in front of the gym. That's where I parked my car. So what's at the gym? It's an entire building full of buff guys that want to help some girl change their tire. And I was like, because I could have been on the highway. I could have been on some funky road somewhere where where I wouldn't be able to get some help. and then I'd be on the phone freaking out. And so even in negative situations, perhaps you can find something to be thankful for in that situation. So that's my spiel for today. So there's some of you. So I'm just gonna keep going. We're gonna do the regular routine, and we'll go from there. So, hi Yvonne, and I know you asked for reading down below, so I'm just gonna keep going. Hi Christine, and she says hello. I'd like a reading number 2, please. You sure can, Christine. So how has this week been for you guys? It's been not a stressful week, but like a beyond unmotivated, brain dead kind of week for me, which is why I had the show scheduled for the wrong time. Anyway, all right, here's your card for today. And if you have commentary about what I talked about, since there's not that many of us, we can chit chat and visit. So I would love to chit chat and visit with you guys. Okay, Christine. Okay, so what you're showing me is that you are, I'm going to say, in the process of making a decision, of saying yes to a new energy. I feel like that either you are still in the decision-making process, even though you're leaning toward this is the direction I want to go, but haven't given it the old Dominus and Visco, or you've made that commitment to yourself and it's just so new it hasn't totally filtered into your space. I feel like this thing that you are saying yes to seems very congruent to you. It feels like it has really good energy on it for you. I feel like your energy is excited about it. And I say, go for it. Go for it. Okay, let's see. Hi, Karen. Karen says, hi, Dr. Rita. Good to be here with you. Please have a reading number 3. You sure can. I always find it interesting that those cards always end up on the bottom. And I don't intentionally put them down there, but they're down there a lot. See, there it is again, and I shuffled it into the deck. You would think there were a million of those things, but there's only 5 of those cards in this whole deck. All right, Karen, that's your card for today. So Karen, I'm just going to bring up what might be a little bit of a sensitive topic. I don't know. But when I look at your energy, I just feel like you feel a little wounded. And that you pulled your energy back. I mean, the picture you're showing me is that you're kind of licking your wounds. Wow, I'm going to fluff my hair on this one. And I feel like instead of just accepting this situation and everything that happened and just moving on, you're stopping and taking the time to actually process the information and process what's going on. And I feel like that's kind of a new thing for you to not just be on autopilot. And so I feel like you kind of pulling your energy back is a very appropriate place. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hurt are you? I feel like, it's a 4, maybe a 5. I mean, so I don't feel like, that you were betrayed and you're totally knocked out of your space, but I feel like it was significant enough to make you stop. And I feel like the person that you're involved with in this situation, you just really want to take a good look at it. And, I'm going to put my words on it. Decide if you want to keep putting your energy into the relationship or the situation. And so I feel like you're making a decision for yourself. What do I want? And I think that that's great. And I feel like that's healthy. And it's kind of a new thing. So I'm just encouraging you to keep working on that and not jumping back in if you're not feeling that that's the right thing for you to do. So Karen, let me know. Let me know. Okay. All right. There's Yvonne back. And she would like a reading number 3. They need to just all stay on the bottom, I swear. All right, Yvonne, number 3. And that's your card for today. So Yvonne, I'm kind of feeling like your energy is a little bit like my energy today. Like, I know I need to, all right, I'm going to put the card back up. I need to get to the top of that pyramid, but I'm just not feeling it. And I feel like there's not really anything that's floating your boat or getting you excited as far as like what you should be doing or what that next step is. I wish I had an answer for you. I don't know, maybe, hang on. I don't have an answer because I'm kind of in the same situation. And my new philosophy is I need to just sit and be patient and allow this to do what it's going to do. But I have to tell you, it's kind of making me a little bit crazy. But even when I look at what you are projecting out in the future, okay, when I look at what you're projecting out in the future, it's like I'm not seeing anything. But I feel like I'm not seeing anything because you are in a allowing posture right now that you're not trying to make things happen. You're trying to allow things to come to you and manifest through you. So yay, 2 thumbs up on that. But it's like, okay, but now what? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of bored. So own it, accept it, have it be okay. That's really all I got. That's all I got. Okay. And Amy's here. Hi, Amy. And then she says, be a fountain, not a drain. Okay. And Amy, did my reading for you last week, did it finally kick in and make sense to you? Because I was just very curious about that. Okay. Hey, Dawn. You're here again. I'm so glad you're here again. Number 1. Ooh, number 1. He's daring. Okay. All right. And that's your card for today. So Dawn, I'm getting the impression that you had, and I'm going to say a pretty good day. I feel like the last few days have been pretty good for you. I feel like there's a piece of you that wants to get up and dance and get up and sing. I mean, maybe not physically. But I feel like it's making you happy to not be miserable. How's that? I mean, I know that the last week or so, you're in kind of a funky place, not a totally bad place, but a kind of funky place. And I feel like that shifted and your energy has moved to a higher vibration. And I feel like you've noticed that as well. And I feel like you're having gratitude around it. And if you're not having gratitude around it, have some damn gratitude there, Dawn, because it's good. It's a good vibration. All right, and we have Jessica, and she says, "Hi, Dr. Rita, your hair looks great, and I love your glasses. Thank you. I'd like a reading, please." You sure can. Oh, number one. Yeah, aren't these glasses cool? They're like from the dollar store. Because when you get glasses from the dollar store, you can have like 15 pairs, and you can have a pair on the kitchen table, and a pair on the coffee table, and a pair on the nightstand, and an extra pair in case the pair that you have in all those other places you can't find. It's great. All right. Jessica, so that's your card for today. So Jessica, and I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly because I'm not getting, it's weird, I'm not getting a whole lot. But are you feeling like you're kind of running on empty? I feel like, you know, your get up and go got up and left. You know, I kind of feel like you're in the same boat with Yvonne and I, where it's just nothing is seeming any good. And, you know, you're just kind of there, you know, so again, to you, maybe that's where we're supposed to be. So this is like the third, you know, maybe that's the energy vibration, you know, and the lesson we're supposed to be learning is to how to be okay and not be running around and living on ego and living on survival and living on, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, and just have it be okay and allow ourselves to not do anything. Very weird energy for me, but I kind of feel like you're in that same boat. See, now this makes me wonder if there is some weird planetary thing going on right now. So Yvonne says, I need to focus on gratitude right now. Yvonne, I have been really, really working that. And I find that it has been really good. So, okay. Amy says, super busy week. Can I have a number 2 reading today? Thank you. You sure can, Amy. That's your card for today. I always love this card. So Amy, what you're showing me is that I feel like you feel you're really on the edge and really close to having something, achieving something, starting something. There's a newness and transformation happening. I feel like you don't know totally everything that's going on or what you're really supposed to be doing. But I feel like you are, man, you guys are really good today. You are trusting the process. I get the impression that you've really been focusing on keeping everybody else's energy out of this cycle. And I feel like you've been able to do it in a fairly effortless way. So that's really good. You know, where before it took a lot of conscious energy on your part, and I'm not feeling that same thing now. I feel like, you know, you're just having energetic boundaries, you know, so there's the boundaries we have with other people where it's like, hey, you know, don't leave your coffee cup in the sink. to having energetic boundaries where we don't let other people's vibration enter our space. And I feel like that's coming more and more natural to you. So good job. Okay. Let's see. So Christine said, thank you. Well, you're so welcome. All right. So hi, Cynthia. I've never been here before. May I have a reading? What deck do you use? Thank you. Okay. So I saw her message. So these are called dream cards, and they were originally designed for doing dream interpretation, which I do not do. And so what I use them for is to do aura chakra readings, like at shows and stuff. And I'm just doing a 1-card draw. And so let me scroll down just a little bit here. Okay, so you didn't put in a number. And so usually people give me a number 1 through 3, and that's how many times I shuffle for them. But I'm just going to sit here and visit for a second and then shuffle. And then when I feel like I'm done shuffling, I'm going to draw a card for you. How's that, Cynthia? Okay, one more on your behalf. But usually it's just 1 through 3. All right. Okay, and that's your card for today. Oh, and Cynthia, thanks for coming. And I hope you come back after today. Okay, so Cynthia. So Cynthia, I get the impression that you've been kind of running around with some negative emotions, negative thinking coming on. I feel like that you've been ruminating about a situation that happened. I feel like you're kind of like a loaded kettle, and a little bit waiting to explode. I would like to make the suggestion that you communicate with this person that this conflict is tied to. It will help. It will stop the rumination because, hopefully the process will end. If that's not something that you're comfortable in doing, maybe journaling about it and getting that energy out of you. And so when we journal, it's as if we're talking, but we're not. We're writing. And so that might be a tool, but I feel like you just have a lot of emotional energy bottled up inside of you that really wants to come out. And so maybe the better question is, what would be the best way for me to shift this energy so I'm just not carrying it around, or I'm not carrying it around anymore? Okay? Let me know if that makes sense to you. And Karen says, you were spot on with the reading. Thank you. You're welcome. And then Yvonne said, yes, and thank you. So bored. So Yvonne, what the hell is this? I don't even know. I have been trying to be so patient, and I've been like, putting out intentions. It's like, okay, I'm open to receiving whatever you want me to do. So just like, let me know something, and I really don't want to clean my house. I mean, anyway, okay. But see, I'm whining now. Okay, Amy says, I'm okay with not exactly knowing what last week's reading was about, but I decided to book 2 back-to-back weekend trips. Really wanted to do both, so I did. Well, sweet. Well, maybe that's what they wanted you to do, was to just listen. And then Dawn says, Dr. Rita, thank you for your reading, but I feel like you and the rest just kind of out of it, like trying to get things done like I like. Does that make any sense? And it totally does, Dawn. So see, thank you guys. Okay, I'm going to have gratitude to you guys, because I thought there was something weird, like I was being weird. But when I hear or sense in people, the same energy in multiple people, then I know it's not me, that there's this thing going on. All right, so now I'm going to ask a really weird question, but if this is happening to you too. But I've also been feeling like really weak and kind of dizzy. And so, and I don't really understand that. And it's all been going on in this last week or so. Um, so if you guys are experiencing that also, I would love the feedback. Love the feedback. So Jessica says, thank you. Not sure what this funk is either. I wish I had an answer, And then Yvonne says, me too, just can't push the river, so allowing. Well, Yvonne, we're both really good. We're experts at pushing the river. But I mean, for me, and I'll just speak for me, David Hawkins wrote a book, Power versus Force, and power is when you embrace something and allow it to happen and allow it to unfold versus trying to force it through. Forcing it takes okay. So we just got like a big thunder thing, and there's supposed to be this big storm coming through. So hopefully I won't lose you guys. But force takes so much energy and so much will, and really like leaves you in a stress place all the time, where allowing is like you just be, but it's just such a different thing. It's just such a different mindset and vibration that for people like us, it's challenging because it's not something that we're used to. Let's see. Jessica says, yes, I'm trying to get things done the way I like as well, more than usual. Good job. And then Yvonne said, glad it's a lot of us. Me too. And then Cynthia says, thank you. That does make sense to me, and I can and will act on your suggestion. Well, that's great, Cynthia. And I hope that you come back, because we really do have a good time here. And everybody has become kind of family with each other. So I hope you'll join our family. Yvonne says, oh, me too. And then Jessica says, do you think it has anything to do with the interstellar object coming into our galaxy and all of the solar flares? Okay, so I've heard some stuff about the interstellar object. But I haven't investigated because I'm working on this new article about the rise of the AMA, which has been really interesting information that I didn't know. So I haven't really been plugging into that whole topic. I've heard a lot about the solar flares. I know that last week, the beginning of this week, maybe it was this weekend, that on the Schumann resonance, I don't know if it wasn't working, like the machine wasn't working, or there was just some really weird distortion, because it was like, usually it's like colored looking lines going across the screen, and it was just solid black, as if somebody had turned it off. But they have those machines in multiple places around the world. So I don't really know. But I have a big but to put with that. But if where the energy is shifting is to us not forcing and us allowing, allowing the universe to flow through us, then we are all moving in a very, very positive direction. So fingers crossed. I mean, if that's what's going on, and as some people say, we're ascending or whatever, if that's part of what's going on, I'm game. I'm totally game. And then Karen says, right there with you, feeling dizzy, headaches. Me too. I'd never take aspirins, and I've been taking aspirins a lot lately. Low energy for a couple of weeks now. Thank you, Karen. For a couple of weeks. And it's interesting, because I finished the house. I have renters that moved in on the 15th. I had pretty good energy right up until that point in time, and then it just crashed. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I mean, there's stuff I can do, but I've been watching a lot of TV, which isn't good. And so I'm kind of on my case about that a little bit. Okay, so Dawn says, yes, you aren't alone. I felt weaker than my norm and dizzier. So maybe it's just weather or something we can't see. And maybe I don't know. I know what my experience is. And I like checking in. Like if I'm noticing something weird in me, um, I bring it to you guys because this is a forum where we can sit there and go, oh, yeah, I had a really bad week, you know, and everybody's like, yeah, I had a bad week too. Oh, I had a bad week too, which lets you know that there is some vibrational energy happening on the planet that's not ours. And when we can recognize that the energy isn't ours, but actually is kind of a group vibration or whatever, it gives us the opportunity to step out of it and go, oh, well, that's not me. I mean, it might be affecting me and it might be bothering me, but it's not me. And so I don't need to worry about me. And you can just have it be whatever it's going to be. It's like, okay, I'm tired and all I want to do is watch TV. Okay. And not be like, God, you're so damn lazy. All you're doing is watching TV. Okay. And then Jessica wrote, I like that, allowing. Yeah, allowing, it's a really good thing, but it really is, I'm going to say, a skill or a practice that you kind of have to learn. And so if it's hard for you to just allow, although right now is great allowing season, don't beat yourself up because it's not something that comes built into us. It is something we have to sit there and work on and kind of practice and become good at. Okay, and then Amy says, thank you for the reading. Feels good and to be mostly neutral and just letting people be whatever they are. No judgment on them, just deciding whether or not I want them to be in my space or not. And exactly, Amy, that's a really good way of reflecting back what I was picking up for you. So cool. All right, so I'm at the bottom of the list. Is there anything you guys want to talk about since we have a very small crew today? You know, and I said this at the very beginning, but I'll say it again. I didn't put the schedule time on there correctly when I set it up because it's this weird energy. And so, you know, we just have a very small crew. And actually, I had to drop the Facebook feed. So it's just us hanging out together. So anything, anybody? I'm open. So, all right. Well, then I am going to let you go. So next week, because I already have my topic, because it is right here. But I just figured, you know, since I got the impression it was going to be a low turnout tonight, that I was just going to do something different. But next week, I'm going to be talking about natural versus synthetic remedies. And I have to tell you, when I was doing this research about basically drug-based therapies, it was a little shocking to me, So I hope you all come back to hear all about it. And let's see, Amy says, been spending time looking into the 13 moon 28-day calendar. Very, very cool. It is very cool. So I'm assuming that is the Mayan calendar. Yeah. Well, you'll have to do a book report for us, Amy. And then Don says, Dr. Rita, what's your idea on the UFOs? And so, so my thought on the UFOs is, I mean, I believe extraterrestrials exist. As I said, I haven't really spent too much time paying attention to, you know, the stuff on Facebook about these ships out there that they're taking pictures of. these days there are just so many, I'm going to say, deep fakes that do I really want to invest my energy into evaluating that? And if they want to come and take over the planet, okay. I don't know that I necessarily have an issue with that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go. But before I do, please connect with me on social media. That's my information. And if you want me and need me, go to my webpage, soulhealer.com. I'd love to hear from you to set up a time for a private consultation. Till then, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.